All of us, do we work under AIC Mission Hospital? Some? All of us here? Yes, we are all employed, so we are under the category of employed. The other one is deployment. You go an extra mile and deploy yourself. And under deployment, there are two categories that you can deploy yourself. One, by producing a service, like what I'm doing today. Two, producing a product. And you remember, let me say it because I don't know whether I will remember. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 20, and the Bible says, and God blessed them and said what? Be fruitful. Be fruitful. That fruitful is a Hebrew word that means be productive. I said it's a faith-based financial literacy. Be productive. He said bless them. He blessed them. Number one, he empowered. You know, blessing means to empower, to be favored, to be graced. And that is why if God himself, after creating Adam and Eve, before he released them, he said, he blessed them and said, go and be productive. Now, let me clarify something. He never said, go and be sinful. We are all medics. He never said, go and be seedful. He said, go and be productive, which means the seed of production is already in you. So you only need to discover what is that seed that is in me. Can I challenge you something? Can I tell you something? From Genesis to Revelation, there is nothing like Job, apart from the name Job, the guy in the Bible. There is nothing. And I will challenge you again because I want to make a difference in your life. All the top multi-millionaires and billionaires, I'm sorry to say so, but it is to help us. There is no one who is employed. And if they are employed, they never reach to that level as a result of salary alone. They did something else. So working is not, being employed is not wrong. But you need to change the perspective. You need to change the perspective. You need to change the perspective and don't look for money while working. The main essence of being employed, it is not to earn. Listen to this. The main essence of being employed is not to earn, but to learn. I'll say this again. The main essence of being employed is not to earn, but to learn. But the problem with us is that the moment we get employed, we settle. We settle. We forget that maybe you are supposed, that God was bringing you into this place to learn something within 5 to 10 years. And after that, you can start up something. You will have gained an experience to produce something that is in you. Because all of us, whether we like it or not, whether we are aware or not, there is a seed of greatness in us. There's a certain potential. We are all gifted differently. So there's a seed of gift. There's a seed of potential. There's a seed of talent in you. It is you to discover and deploy that seed, that potential, that gift. And that is why the Lord said, he blessed them and said, be fruitful. That fruitful means be productive. So deployment comes by deploying either one service or two product. Bill Gates, what has he produced? Are we learning? Bill Gates, what has he produced? Sorry? Microsoft. He has produced a Microsoft. That's a product. That's a product he has produced. Let me not dwell there so much. Number 4, do you have enough savings to see you through 6 months from 6 months of normal living expenses if you lose your job today? Do you have at least 6 to 8 months savings that can sustain you? Do we have? In case you lose your job today, we saw the time of Corona, and you see the problem with Africans, we never learn. You saw what happened during Corona. In case the same thing happened, na sama waite mkutano, awambia sasa venye kuko, we cannot sustain all of you. We can only retain 50% of you. Hao wengine mtaenda wapi? Where will you go? You see, you might not, listen, you might not lose your job, but your job can lose you. Can I say it again? You might not lose your job, but your job can lose you. Do you have companies that have closed down? Yes. So even the job can lose you. Maybe you can be a very good medic, very good accountant, but remember back in your mind that even the job can lose you. When we talk about 6 to 8 months savings, these are savings that you set aside as an emergency fund, in that in case of such a thing, if it happens, as you look for another job, as you apply for another job, or as you start up that business, these 6 months savings, 8 months savings will sustain you. The reason why we have become victims of too much borrowing everywhere, right, left and center. Fuliza, Tala, hiyo ingine ni gani? Unaona tunajua. Hiyo ingine ni gani? Do you know the genesis of that extreme borrowing? The genesis is that things happen, but we didn't have an emergency fund to mitigate that risk. We didn't have. So when we entered into that mess, and you see, by the way, those people who borrowed Timiza, they have borrowed people, they have spoiled their reputation, and now the only hope they have is about the Fuliza and Timiza. And you see now, because of that, you end up spoiling your reputation. So bado tunajibu yes, no, I don't know. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Tell yourself the truth today. Number 5, do you save money on a regular basis? Do you save money on a regular basis? Yes, no, I don't know. You see, we are doing what we call examination, so that we can know where your problem is originating from. We said, or before even, I said poverty is not lack of money. It is a sickness. So this sickness of financial crisis, financial rat race, financial problems, where is it originating from? Is it lack of savings? Can I quote a scripture for you? Proverbs 21:20, New Living Translation. New Living Translation. The wise are rich, have rich and luxurious life. New Living Translation. The wise have rich life and luxurious life, but fools, hey, that's not me. I didn't call anybody a fool. But the fools waste everything that they get. So we are still answering, do you save money on a regular basis? So if you don't save, you know where you belong. Number 6, have you formed the habit of saving? If you save, if at all, that is if at all you save. Do you save on a regular basis? One of the greatest philosophers, anaitangwa, he's called W. Clement Stone. He said, if you don't save on a regular basis, then the seeds of greatness are not in you. Let me tell you something. You know, there is no shortcut as far as building financial freedom, riches, and wealth is concerned. Let no one lie to you. There is no shortcut. I'm telling you. I've done research well. I've been a victim of poverty. And the problem we think is that there is a muzungu coming from somewhere to come and help us. There is no that. If your financial life is going to stabilize, it's up to you as the CEO, the captain of your own life, to know I am responsible of my own life. Otherwise, you'll transfer the same thing to your children, to your generation. There's no gimmicks, there's no rocket science. Listen to this again. Those who are on top of the mountain, any mountain, Kilimanjaro, didn't fall to the top of the mountain. They climbed step by step to the top of the mountain. Which means those who have experienced financial freedom, riches and wealth, didn't experience by guesswork. There are certain steps and principles that they followed step by step that guaranteed them results. Let me say this. Financial prosperity is predictable. Becoming rich is predictable. Becoming wealthy is predictable. And also becoming poor and suffering financial crisis is also predictable. Because there are rules of the game. Principles have been set. If you follow the principles will guarantee you results. Today, if you pray and fast for 100 days and you climb to the 10th story building and you jump, no matter how much you have prayed and fasted, if you jump, the law of gravity will bring you down. It will not take you up. That is how principles are. So we try to solve money problems with emotions. Oh, I'm coming from a poor background. If you are above 30 years, this thing, you are now the background. There was a time you were the background, but today you are the background. There's no way you are above 30 years. You are either 30 or above 30 and you are still saying that I came from a poor background. How? So it is up to you now to work it out. Otherwise, no one else will come for you. And the worst thing is that for you to become poor, for you to suffer endless financial crisis and endless financial problems, you don't need to do anything. You see the way you are? Just listen, then don't do anything. That's a guaranteed recipe of continued financial rat race. And you are not a rat. Endless financial rat race. Just by not doing anything. But you see, the other side, when you want to become rich and wealthy, you need to do something. And not just being interested. There are those who are interested and there are those who are committed. But I'm happy you came. Because it's a sign you are interested. Because for you to become rich and wealthy, you need to do something. It doesn't come by guesswork. I've been there and I know what I'm saying. Have you formed the habits of saving? Number 7, do you have a well-defined, documented financial goals? We are still in the beginning of 2025. Do we have well-defined, documented financial goals? We have. David. Number 8, do you have a bank account? You know, you might think this question is a very basic. You will not be surprised. Yeah, so there are people who don't have bank account. Do we have a bank account? Number 9, do you reconcile your bank statements every month? Statements. Do you reconcile? You see, lack of reconciling your either M-Pesa statements or bank statements, that's a mindset of a poor man. The missing link, the disconnect between the rich and the wealthy is the way they think. Rich and wealthy men reconcile their bank statements and M-Pesa statements. But poor men, they don't know even what they have in the bank. They don't know what they are normally charged every month. They don't know the state of their bank account. They don't analyze and check out the bank statements. Because if you didn't know, banks are thieves. They are not there to help you. Oh, you thought they are there to help you? No. They are thieves. But as a wise man or woman, you need to be tracking your bank statements and M-Pesa statement. Why do I say so? You remember pale kwa net worth. Ile number 1. Do you know your present financial condition net worth? If you don't know this, if you don't track, you will never know. If you don't track your bank statements and your M-Pesa statements, how you use your funds, you will never know your actual net worth. Why? If you miss out the direction, if the plane from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport misses a direction, maybe it was going to United Kingdom, and it misses direction with 1%. It misses the direction with 1%. Will it arrive at the same destination? Why? Can you imagine something like 1% only? Or if you like 1 degree Celsius. Will it arrive in the same destination? So we need to be analyzing our statements and ask ourselves, okay, I had this last month and we are in the second month. How am I doing financially? Am I moving in the right direction? Or I'm still speeding at 180 kilometers per hour but in the wrong direction? It's always good at the end of every month. Sit down, analyze your bank statements, analyze your M-Pesa statements, and check your expenditure. How are you spending? Because there is what we call financial expenditure system that you can use. Do you keep record? That is number 10. Do you keep record of your income and expenditure? That one we have spoken about. Number 11. Do you know how much you spend each month? Can you tell me, can you describe to me how you spend your last month income or salary? Would you be in a position to list down everything and tell me, Nick, this is how I spend my last month salary. This is how I spend my last month income. Where are you? Is it yes, no, or I don't know? These are the basic things that makes a difference in the lives of the people, because the law of cause and effects again states, to every effect there is a cause. I've said financial crisis is a product of something. Maybe you have not been analyzing your expenditures, and that is why you have been having a recurrent problem year in, year out. So if that problem is going to change, then you have to change the problem of not accounting your expenditures, so that you know, this area I am spending too much, I'm buying things too much, I'm a victim of impulse buying. I'm those people, when I go to town, I buy everything until money is finished. Because most of the Africans have become victims of what we call the Pakistan's law. Do you know what the Pakistan's law states? That your expenditure will always rise to meet your income. Your expenditure will always rise to meet your income. In that, if you are earning 50,000 today, and then you have an increase of 30,000, which means you're supposed to be earning 80,000, you realize your lifestyle goes up automatically because of the law of the Pakistan's law. Unless you strike and you say, no, I'll maintain the same life standard. The Pakistan's law. And most of us have become victim of this. So you continue living in the same life cycle that doesn't change. No, financial rat race is making money, spending money, and coming back to making money again. So you are living, you are paying rent. Maybe you are paying 20,000, and then you got an increment of 30,000. So instead of maintaining the same house rent of 20,000, you shifted all of a sudden that this house is no longer habitable, but you have been living there for the last 7 years. You move in again to a new house that you'll be paying 30,000. You shift your children to a different school that you'll be paying another 20,000 on top of it. You realize now you are still in the same cycle that doesn't change. Not unless you say, you see, this difference, this increment of 30,000, I will not spend anything. I will still continue the same lifestyle. This 30,000 will go to my savings and to my investments. The Pakistan's law have become one of the financial cancers that we have in the lives of our people.